Hello, we are here.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. We're back on the internet. I don't know about you, but I've looked forward to this all week. That we got to be here and start doing our podcast again. Technically, we recorded one yesterday, but that was not one that we live streamed out to the public and stuff like that. But it's good to be back.
It is.
Yeah, we took a week off this past week. There is a lot of protests going on in the country right now, and we thought our voices should probably remain silent while more important things are happening and stuff like that. So, yeah, we were just like, you know what, we're going to cancel our shows for this week, and we'll be back this next week. But, man, I have been looking forward to getting back on the podcast.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to talk to you just as a friend. We didn't think to schedule just like, well, let's have our weekly check-in anyway, just separately, not record it last week. So I don't know what you've been up to.
Well, for those of you guys who do not know, my name is Kyle Springer, and my friend Melissa Wilkinson is joining me as normal. And this is episode 99 of the Captain's Log. I am excited. We are one away from 100.
Heck, this is as many bottles of beer as there were on that legendary wall.
Yeah. So when you sing that song, how does that song go for you?
When I have sung that song as a child, because it's not something I do as an adult. If an adult is singing that song, I don't know what has happened.
Really? Why not? It's a great song to sing.
It's 99 bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer. You take one down, you pass it around, and then there's 98 bottles of beer on the wall.
Ah, see, that's where I differ.
Ooh.
I take one down, pass it around, go to the store, buy one more, and there's 99 bottles of beer on the wall, and it just stays at 99.
So you're trapped in a Groundhog Day loop?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how you gotta do it.
Well, how does the Jingle Bells Batman smells go for you? Because I know this is also something that can vary from region to region.
Jingle Bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, the Batmobile lost its wheel, and Joker did ballet. Hey.
We mostly had Joker got away, which I admit does not rhyme. Joker took ballet, second runner-up, would also hear it sometimes. I heard, I was watching a YouTube video from these guys who live in Madison, Wisconsin, and the version they had up there growing up was Jingle Bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, the Batmobile lost its wheel, and Commissioner lost his leg.
Okay. There you go.
Which is far more grim, and I'm glad we don't have that one.
Poor Commissioner. I like Gordon.
He didn't
He's
do
good.
anything wrong.
He just wants to be a good husband. Well, let's check in. What have you been up to these past couple weeks here?
I believe I already briefly updated you on my lamp news. I'm just continuing the streak I've been on of home improvement. I installed a new lamp. I installed new smart light bulbs in a lamp I had in the dining room, which I've been very happy with. Thank you for your smart light bulb inspiration.
They can tie their shoes and count by twos and all sorts of things. Real smart.
Yeah, they stamp their little light bulb feet to count numbers for you.
Yeah.
And I have decked out my balcony.
How so?
Previously, it had 2 chairs and a small table.
Okay.
And since then, and I would take one chair and then I turned the other chair around so that I could put my feet up on it. But I recognized that it looked weird because anybody who doesn't see me up there just glances up at our balcony and it's one chair closely facing another chair. It's eerie.
Gotcha.
So I got to get a legitimate footstool or something. I want 2 chairs facing out against the beautiful landscape. I think that's a much more peaceful, cohesive image. So I made a footstool. I took a little wooden build-it-yourself pine box from IKEA that I made, and then I tied an outdoor cushion to the top of it.
That works.
It works.
Smart.
It costs $20 and not $40 or $50. An outdoor ottoman is weirdly expensive. And we got some plants for the balcony.
Cool.
I'm now a plant owner.
Good old plant mom.
Yep.
Sounds good. I almost bought some more fake plants.
I do dig fake plants. I did buy some while we were at IKEA. I can't leave there without getting at least one fake plant.
There you go. I have this like weird thing when I'm shopping. I don't like to only buy one thing. It's especially if it's under $20.
Yeah.
I just feel bad. Like I didn't do enough, or like they're gonna get charged some like fee because I paid with a credit card or something, and
Is this for brick and mortar stores as well as internet orders?
Just kind of in general. Yeah. And
I understand that. Like, you got to show that gas station you love them 2 packs of gums worth.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Not just one.
I'll get juicy fruit and Hubba Bubba. Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you mix them together?
Probably not. I don't know if the mixed gum would be a good thing.
I've never heard of anyone doing it, but that doesn't mean there isn't somebody out there who has been doing it and doesn't realize that's weird.
With the more like candy stuff, I could say like the more like candy kind of gum, maybe. Like you remember when we were a kid, you would get those from like Blockbuster or something. It'd be like a tin can of gum, and you would like lift the top off, and it would be two flavors like that. Like I feel like I mixed that, right? But not with like adult gum for adults. Gum. It's absolutely a thing, okay?
No, I understand. Like, this is something I have not thought about, but you're right. Just as like with breakfast cereals or juice or whatever, there is child gum and adult gum, and there's not a lot in the middle. Like, I guess, I don't know, like Big Red is for all ages. I chewed a Big Red as a child. But yeah, there's not a little kid who's like, I'm worried about my teeth, father. Please give me some Dintine ice.
Big League Chew might be the one that's like right in the middle. There, that's more like a young adult, or like young adult boys. Like
all those kids on Riverdale with their Big League Chew.
I can see them getting into something like what was that? They called their drug. Shit, what was it called? It was.
I haven't seen this season.
It was like season 1. They had this like stupid name for a drug that was happening.
I know it's something like razzle dazzle or hippie hoppy.
It was some
preposterous like that.
Stupid name like that. It's like, hey, did you have more sprinkles? Sprinkles.
Riverdale seems exactly like a show that would have a drug inside a gum.
Yeah. That makes sense. Now I completely forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, you were talking about buying multiple things at once.
Yeah. I almost bought a fake plant because I bought a comic book that is out of print. I bought it on Amazon because it's technically out of print. So my local comic book store couldn't get it, but it still happened to be in stock on Amazon. So I was like, check please. And I bought that. It was like $15. It was volume 3 of Superior Foes of Spider-Man. And I was like, you know what? I should just get something else. And so I found these fake plants that I kind of hunted. I have some in my room underneath my TV and on my like dresser nightstand kind of thing. But I want more of them to kind of fill out my room and make it feel homey and stuff like that. So I found some that were like a 1.5 feet tall, like some like actual good size. Like, hey, it actually looks like a plant. It's not just some little like tiny fake succulent thing. And I decided against it because it was 2 of them, but it was $35 total. And I was like, that's a little steep for fake plants. Yeah. So, oh well, that's my story.
No, I empathize. I am interested. Since I rearranged a bunch of furniture, I've got this shelf back here in the corner that I don't really have much to put on.
Sure.
Or well, it's like in clear view of any time I'm like on the webcam, so I want it to be like nice display items, not just like a bland storage box or something. So I'm like, I gotta get decorative tchotchkes and plants to fill out that shelf.
At least 15 pieces of flair.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So something else a little bit behind the scenes of what's happening here right now, live on Twitch, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see both of our beautiful faces. There's me,
Yes.
hi, and there's Melissa. Say hello.
It's me. Hello.
But Melissa cannot see me.
No, I can't.
I only have one web camera, so it is hooked up to OBS. I used to have a second one, kind of, because on my Mac I had a built-in webcam there, so that was the one I used for Skype, and then I used the one that I'm using now for all of our streams and stuff. But they are still sold out everywhere. Like, I knew that they became kind of popular when the whole coronavirus thing first started happening, because everyone had to be on a Zoom call and stuff like that. And so I knew they were out of stock, but I would have figured they would be back in stock by now, because things kind of got back to normal a little bit with a lot of that stuff. But I guess they're so like back ordered that they're just still just like, we have none. Don't do all of that stuff. So one day Melissa will see me again.
I just have to go watch the YouTube feed afterwards later, like a peasant, like everyone else.
What my outfit was yesterday.
Yeah, which one of your 8 shirts?
Yeah.
All
right. So here
today?
we will play a game right here,
Ooh.
right now. It's called Guess Kyle's Outfit. So Melissa, you cannot see me right now. I have not posted any pictures. What do you think I'm wearing?
Your PlayStation shirt.
No, not wearing a PlayStation shirt.
Is it a shirt, or are you wearing a hoodie?
It is a t-shirt.
Okay. Heck, how many t-shirts you got? Is it your kind of funny shirt that has like the kind of like the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge kind of looking logo on it?
Almost. Very close.
Almost. Or was it another kind of funny shirt?
Yes, it's another kind of funny shirt. It technically does have a bridge.
Okay.
But it's not the one you're thinking of. The one with the like sun logo.
Yeah,
it's
like
not
the
that one.
Outrun looking one. Yeah.
It's not that one.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Well, I can't picture what this other one looks like because my brain's all taken up by that cool one with the bridge. I know you have more, but I couldn't describe them in detail.
Give you a hint. This one is navy blue.
Oh, do you have one that looks like an old kaiju poster or something?
Yes, I will accept that as an answer. It has a like fake me out Gundam.
Okay. Gundam's not a kaiju, but it's
giant robot.
It's adjacent to kaiju. Yeah. It's something big.
Yeah.
Not normally big.
Yeah. And then something you have not seen. I have a new hat. It's a white dad hat with a heart on it.
Oh,
cool.
Simple, wholesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
Nice.
It is from Jessica Negri. It's her hat. She does a lot of cosplay and stuff, and she has merch and stuff like that. And she had this hat, and I was like, I like that hat. I want to buy it one day.
Cute.
And I did. So good job. I don't know if I would have been able to do the same thing for you if I couldn't see you and you were like, okay, Kyle, guess my outfit. I'd have been like, oh shit, well, I'm done.
Right, 'cause I do have quite a wardrobe, and I think I'm wearing something today I don't know if I've worn on the show before. If I have, it hasn't been for like 6 months to a year.
I've seen you wear floral stuff every now and then. You have a good amount of floral stuff, but I don't know if I have seen that particular one. I just I can't keep track of that stuff.
Nah, you're not expected to. This is not going to be a game that goes both ways.
Exactly. Well, it has been 2 weeks. What have you been watching on TV? What did you do with your free time? Have you been watching stuff?
I started watching Star Trek: The Original Series this week.
How is that?
Because it's a show I've always been aware of course, and I've seen like a handful of episodes. I've seen Wrath of Khan a couple times, but I've never sat down and really seriously watched the original Star Trek. I'm enjoying it. It's wild to see what their early episodes are.
Sure.
Like, they're not bad as episodes, but it's weird. Like, the episode I'm watching now, there's a teenage boy. He's 17, and he was on a pilgrimage shuttle. It's like, we are colonizing this planet. You know, we've got all these families and all these supplies. We're going on the spaceship to this uninhabited planet, and we're going to colonize it. And then, like, the ship crashed or something, and everybody died except for this boy. So he's lived in isolation, like, since he was 3. And then this other spaceship came and, like, picked him up. And he's, like, on the Starship Enterprise, you know, as, like, a midway point between the planet where he had been living alone and I forget where it is they're taking him. Maybe back to whatever planet his family came from. I don't know. But he's on the Enterprise briefly, and he's developed these psychic powers in his isolation. And he's, like, experiencing all this stuff for the first time. Like, he sees one of, like, the crew members, and he's like, is that a girl? Is this what a girl is?
It's that
I
meme
want the girl.
where the anime guy has it. He's like, is this a girl?
So he's trying to impress this girl, and he's doing it with these, like, his psychic powers. Like, he wants to give her a gift, and he makes a gift appear in his hands. Like, it's not that bad as a sci-fi premise, but it's weird to be episode 2.
Sure.
Like, we're spending all of this episode on a weird, like, an eerie teenager and a crew member who I know is not one of the main core cast.
Yeah.
So it's like, where is Spock? Have we met Scotty yet? Have we met Chekhov yet?
I mean, granted, we did just read a bunch of Fantastic Four comics for the review show, and
Yes.
literally issue 2, they deal with shape-shifting aliens, and it's like we don't even know like who these people are yet. So old sci-fi is fun.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I just dig that grainy old vintage sci-fi aesthetic. Like, I watch it before I go to bed. It's really calming.
Sure, that makes sense. I tried to get into Stargate like a year or 2 ago. I was just like, this is a sci-fi show that I know went on for a while and had a couple different shows. Maybe I should watch it. I think I watched the first like 7 or 8, and I was just like, this is like, it's like the right, it's in the like perfect time period where it's old, and I at least like that, but it's trying to be newer and modern, and it's just like, it's just not hitting it for me. So
I get that.
Oh well.
The final season of Stargate aired. I think that thing went on for like 8 years or something. It was
like
pretty
that,
long
yeah.
running. The final season was airing the summer that my family first got a DVR. Like, we'd had cable the whole time before that, but this was the first summer we got a TiVo-like device. And I was so excited to use it. I'm like, I can record anything on it anytime, and I can watch it later. I don't have to mess around with a VHS tape anymore. So I recorded just a ton of Stargate because it was on. Because Sci-Fi Channel was marathoning all of it. And I'm like, I guess I'll watch Stargate. So I watched a lot of Stargate in one, like, 2-week period in 2007.
That's funny. Yeah.
Like, I watched the series finale of Stargate having seen, like, 12 episodes before that. 12 non-consecutive episodes before that. I didn't even know everybody's name, but I'm like, I'm showing up for the Stargate finale.
Oh, Melissa, you froze, and you're back now.
I don't know what to do about this. It keeps happening, but like, I can't tell on my end that I am frozen. It all looks the same.
I don't know what it is. It may have been that transformer, because my power went out this past week, and a transformer exploded in the neighborhood neighborhood, and it was out for a couple hours, and I don't know. We've had a couple internet issues around the house for a bit, but it's not enough to like really cause problems or stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just like, okay, strange, but yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have been bedridden for the past 2 weeks, basically. I threw out my back. I think we didn't get to record. Wait, did we get to record? Yeah, so we recorded the last episode of Crossplay we recorded. I was still fine. And then it was that Sunday morning.
Yeah, you knocked your back out, and then you're like, I can still do a review show today, but give me a couple hours. And like, you didn't say why. You just showed up to recording that afternoon for us to talk about Mr. Robot, and you're like, I threw my back out. I'm
Yeah.
like, Kyle, are you 70?
Yeah, I'm officially old. It's weird. I tweeted
You've
out.
earned your dad hat.
Yeah, I have earned my dad hat, but I tweeted out. I was like, well, I'm officially old. I threw out my back. So do I get a membership card? Discount at Walmart? Anything? No. Whack.
Whack.
But so that first week especially, I was bedridden, could barely move, it hurt a lot, and so I have been binge watching a hell of a lot of TV. Let's see, I have seen the first of the new like DC Comics CW shows. I'm watching all the new seasons, but they did their Crisis on Infinite Earths like crossover halfway in. So I watched the first 9 episodes of Supergirl, the first 9 of The Flash. Next, I want to watch the first like 9-ish or so of Batwoman. However, it's not on Netflix, and it's streaming exclusively on HBO Max, which I don't have. And I'll talk more about that in one sec. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll go watch Legends of Tomorrow. And I had said that on like Monday or Tuesday. And I went to go check it, and it was like, it's coming on Wednesday. And so I checked back on Wednesday, and episode 1 is their cross over. So I was like, well, I can't watch that. And then there's Arrow, which is the one that I want to watch last because it's the final season of Arrow.
Okay.
So I basically want to watch all of that, do the cross over, and then watch like the finale of Arrow. With that, so I've watched all of that stuff. I also let's see, what else have I been watching? I watched season 1 of Dark for a second time. We technically, Paul and I covered it a long time ago on an episode of the Whatnauts podcast, and it's actually surprisingly one of our better performing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show is fantastic. I highly recommend that show. It's a lot easier for me to understand on my second viewing, because it's a time travel show. So that's number one of just like, yes, I love that. But it's all in German. I think they have an English dub, but I don't want to watch it with that. So I'm reading the subtitles. But then to like keep up with everything that's happening and do all these timelines and stuff like that, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's good. I actually think, Melissa, you would like it, because it's kind of like Lost in a certain way.
Ooh, you've said the magic word.
Yeah. So it's like one part Lost in the sense that everything is connected. They don't necessarily do flashbacks in the same way, but it does do multiple timelines where you see certain characters when they're really young, when they're teens, when they're adults, when they're really old, and you see how all of these different things just kind of connect, and how the past is influencing the present, which is influencing the future, which is then in turn influencing the past, and all of this stuff. And it's just like, what is happening? This is wild. And then it's like one part Stranger Things, but it's not as like goofy, if that makes sense. Like, this is a lot darker and more serious, but it also has that like small town vibe. It has that like weird nuclear reactor in the middle of town, and there's things happening there, and what is going on in there, and there's this underground cave system, and it's connected to the power plant, and what is going on. So it's good stuff. Highly recommend it. Season 3 comes out on the 27th, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, that's like,
you picked a lot. You picked such complicated things to watch during your recuperation period.
I had nothing else to do, and thank goodness work was a slow week last week, because when we first went into quarantine, I sat here at my desk and just did all my stuff there. But then, I threw out my back, and I was like, I need to be laying down the entire time. So I was just in my bed the entire time. This week I can finally like get up and move around and stuff like that. It still hurts though. I want to say I'm at like 95% better, but it's still just like if I sit in a certain way, or if I do a certain, it's just like it still hurts, you know. So I've spent this second week in bed too, just like, let me just not screw it up, and not be like, I got this, I'm young and spry, I can do this. But
no, that's a good healthy way to do it.
Yeah,
I think if this virus has taught us anything, it's like, don't believe in your youth and your spryness. Danger lurks around every corner.
Yeah, and good thing I had my like new nifty chair with the good back support here. So that's been helping out too. So a lot of fun.
It sounds like an all right way to spend a recuperation period.
Mm-hmm, indeed. What was the last TV show that you watched that you just absolutely loved? Was just like, oh my goodness, this is such a Melissa show.
It's all been stuff we've already talked about on the podcast.
Really?
Like, it's not going to be anything that's a surprise to you.
Okay.
Like, all I've done this year is just watch, like, this is my year. When I look back on my year in terms of art, it's like, Venture Brothers and Mr. Robot. That was it.
Sure. Fair enough. That works. I have not started season 3 of Mr. Robot yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm going to start
soon.
it this weekend.
Yeah, I think. Gonna start it soon, because on the 19th, The Last of Us Part 2 comes out. That's a video game that I really want to play.
The real last of them.
Yeah. You thought the first one was the last of them, but there's another one. The second to last of them. But so that comes out on the 19th. I'm going to take off work that Friday so I can just stay home and play that game.
Wow.
Because that's going to be an awesome game. I'm so excited.
What a life.
Yeah. What a life indeed.
With no movies coming out in theaters, I have no reason to take vacation days, because that was mostly what I would use them for. Like, I want a whole day to devote to Endgame or Rise of Skywalker or what have you. Maybe I'll take a whole day off for No Time to Die.
Well, we actually did just get 2 more delays, 2 more movie delays. Tenet, first and foremost, a couple of weeks ago, you and I were talking about, will Tenet actually hit its July release date? And apparently they pushed it back 2 weeks. Okay. So I I feel like this is Christopher Nolan being like, no, it has to be in theaters. That's the only way to experience my movie. It needs to be in theaters.
Which I do understand and respect. And 2 weeks is better than no weeks. I don't know if I'll get out to see this one. I really want to. I just don't know if I'll feel like the time is quite right yet. I hope this is something that they will do a re-release of next summer in theaters again. For all the people who were too scared to see it in theaters the first time.
Give me the Nolan cut or something. Just like some extended version or something would be neat for a re-release.
Yeah, or just regular. I'd see it regular.
Come on, Melissa, dream big.
I would love to dream a little bigger, darling. To quote a previous Nolan film. I would love if Robert Pattinson came out at the beginning like, hello, I'm Robert Pattinson.
You might know me as Batman.
Never seen a movie where I've used my natural voice, so this is what she thinks it is. You may remember me from such films as the one where I'm a spooky lighthouse keeper and the one where I'm a spooky vampire. Welcome to our time travel adventure. I want him to introduce it and then come back out at the end well, what did you folks think? And then he explains the whole thing with a chalkboard. A chalkboard, not a whiteboard, not anything with a laser pen. An old chalkboard. He's covered in dust. He's wearing a tweed jacket. I'd pay additional money for this. I want it, but I'm also saying if it's just the movie again in a theater next year, that's also fine.
Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
What do you think Tenet is actually about? Because I've seen one or two trailers, and I don't know if I know what it's about yet, but you mentioned time travel. I don't know if it's exactly time travel.
It's not time travel the way I think we've ever seen it before.
Yeah.
It's we are taking individual items and moments and flipping and reversing them. At the end of Infinity War, where Wanda destroys the Infinity Stone in Vision's head, and then Thanos has the Time Stone, and he just bends the immediate 12 feet around him back in time a couple minutes to erase that action while the rest of everything continued around like normal. I imagine it'll be something like that.
Okay.
The new Rockstars YouTube channel has done some breakdowns on the Tenet trailers. Lots of neat theories over there. And on their last episode of Rogue Theory, which is a 45-minute, hour-long show they do every week that's just theorizing about various things. It's real fun.
Interesting. That sounds cool.
They're talking about how Kenneth Branagh, who's an actor in this movie, gave an interview where he said, I don't know if I'm the hero or the villain. I do I read the script, I filmed the whole thing. I couldn't tell you where I stand at the end of it.
Well, they also film things out of order too. Yeah. So that, I'm sure that makes it confusing for actors if they didn't do let's just do a from start to finish script read. I'm not sure how all that works, but I'm sure it would be confusing.
But kind of as a joke, one of them's asking what do you think is happening in this movie, and kind of opening it up for them to give a jokey answer.
Sure.
This is the last question of the show, which is a little bit sillier and not a deep, serious researched theory. And they say what if you remember the brrrm sound from Inception?
Yeah.
You know, Christopher Nolan's super into sounds. What if he's gone real Grant Morrison weird with things and made a movie where everybody's the personification of a sound? And that's why they can't tell if they're heroes or villains or what the story is, because they're just sounds walking around in bodies.
That'd be an interesting concept. But that is kind of what I think it's going to almost be, more of a concept film.
Yeah.
I think is going to be plot wise, maybe your more standard spy thriller, but the concept is all of the action scenes happen backwards in this not Twin Peaks like where they literally do everything backwards.
That
but
gum
it is
we
this,
like is not coming back into style.
Right, yeah, no, but like it is this weird thing where things like the main actor looks like he's normal, he's moving forward in time while everything else is moving backwards, and that's how the fight scene plays out. Like I think something like that would be really interesting just as a like concept of just like, let's make a movie with that as the thing. Like, who cares what the plot is or if it makes sense, but just let's make this thing that looks visually stunning.
Yeah, this movie is either going to be very tightly plotted or, like you said, sort of a general plot and just conceptually, stylistically very weird.
Yeah.
And I'm up for either variant of that.
Yeah. So I mentioned 2 movies just got delayed. Both of these happened a few hours before we started recording here. The second one is Wonder Woman. Which I don't remember off the top of my head when it was
originally it was going to come out in March, then it was pushed to like mid-August, and now it's moved to October 2nd.
Yeah. See, like that seems more plausible.
Yeah.
But I still don't know if it's going to hit October 2nd, which I like. Tenet just being pushed back 2 weeks, like it was bold of them to hold their ground. It's bold of them to say just 2 weeks. I mean, things are opening up, but the places that are opening up are also seeing spikes in coronavirus cases and stuff like that, and it's just like, I don't know, man. This is wild.
Was excited to see both of those in theaters because I love going to the movies, but and I want to get back to the movies, but I know I'm gonna have to be pickier about it.
Sure.
Like, I can't be going to the movies like 2 times a month like I used to. Like, I think I'm gonna go out to see No Time to Die, and I think Black Widow, and that's it.
Yeah.
Those might be the only movies. And then Eternals next year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only going out for the biggest, like, the tent poles, the things that are, like, the closest to my heart. It's like the MCU and James Bond are going to get me out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make room for Wonder Woman, glorious as she is.
Yeah. That's fine. That makes sense. Let's see. Speaking of movies, Artemis Fowl came out today.
Kyle,
Melissa, have you watched it yet?
I started it. I watched like the first 15, 20 minutes of it to give myself a taste before we sat down to record here tonight. I'm going to hopefully finish the rest of it tonight after we record. Tomorrow I'm watching it again with a friend of mine, so I'm going to watch it twice, at least, before you and I record the Reactor Core about it on Sunday.
Yes. Be on the lookout for that stuff. I completely forgot that this movie was coming out this weekend, just with all of the stuff that's happening in the world. It just completely left my radar. And then you texted me and was like, hey, so because of our like weird schedule that we canceled stuff and we're doing things on different days, you're like, what if we recorded an episode of the Reactor Core on Artemis Fowl on Sunday? And I was like, that's this weekend? I was like, oh shit, yes, let's do it. That sounds awesome. I'm nervous though. I haven't started it yet. I haven't seen it. I am nervous because I saw a review. That is all I will say. But I'm still going into it hopeful. I'm also not expecting much just because of how long this has been in like development hell. I think at some point they had to have been like, all right, let's just make something. Like
So I will tell you, and we've talked about the trailers before. We've talked about this a lot. I don't know any other podcast that has been covering this as much as we have.
It's near and dear to our hearts.
It is. I could tell from the trailers that this was going to be a very different version. This was not a literal adaptation of anything that was happening.
Right,
They were
yeah.
taking various story ingredients and various characters and just sort of jumbling them up and like using these pieces to tell a new story that's in the same flavor as Artemis Fowl. And so far, that is what it is. I'll tell you that. It is not going to look like what you remember, but it doesn't feel totally foreign.
Yeah, because I don't remember this being as, like, science fiction. Like, it was, but it wasn't. Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know that the, like, fairies have all of this cool technology and jetpacks and cloaking devices and stuff like that. But, yeah, like... That was like a special thing, whereas from what I remember from the trailer is that they kind of just brought that aesthetic into the entire thing, and it's like, this is gonna be stylish. It's gonna be like the Kingsman, but for kids and with fairies.
Yeah,
Right. So I don't know. I think it'll be a good popcorn flick of just put it on. It's gonna be kind of ridiculous, but we'll see.
right. And you said you didn't have high expectations for it. I think my emotions are, this thing happened. It beat the odds. It could have gotten lost so many times along the way. 20 years later, it made it. It is a film. That's worth it to me.
Sure.
Even if it's not very good, like, it made it, it did it, and that's enough to make me feel content.
Yeah. That works indeed. Indeed. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it tonight or like tomorrow, like first thing when I wake up. But it'll happen soon. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
We just put out a Patreon exclusive episode of the Reactor Core as well. You and I were talking about movie trailers from the 90s.
Yeah, just talking about the art of the trailer itself.
Yeah, watching them, reacting to them, seeing if we could find some connections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it last time we recorded too, but I definitely do want to see if we can use that format for more things on the Reactor Core. Whether it's more themes of movie trailers or stuff like that, but put those out as a podcast or as a YouTube video, stuff like that. I think that would be fun. That'd be fun indeed. Now that I got my brand spanking new computer that can do all of this stuff.
Yeah, very fancy, very exciting.
Yeah.
So something I've been doing this week is I went back and I listened to an old singer-songwriter that I really loved when I was a kid. His name is Harry Chapin. You've probably heard the Cats in the Cradle song. Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue, and it's about like a dad who's not a dad. He doesn't know how to love his son.
Is this Chapin from Mary Chapin Carpenter?
Oh, I don't know.
Why am I? Is that actually how it's pronounced? Or is it Mary Chape and Carpenter, or is it Mary Chapin Carpenter? Or
I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. He does come from a musical family. He had a brother named like Jim or Ted or somebody who did a children's album that we also had when we were little kids. But this was so you know the Cats in the Cradle song.
Yes.
I think everybody's heard the Cats in the Cradle song. I don't know if anybody, especially in our age range, has ever heard another thing this man has done. But my dad had a box set, like a retrospective set of like 3 CDs for him.
Sure.
That I latched onto hard as a kid at like 9-10 years old. And it's all sad folk music. And I went back and listened to it, and it is so good. Like, I'm able to appreciate it now as an adult in ways I never could as a child. It sounds beautiful. Some of these songs are things I have not heard in like 20 years, and I'm just getting chills listening to them again.
Sure.
Remembering my dad singing them to me in the car. It's been a good visit back. but I've been thinking about how much of my childhood entertainment was sad adult men. Because this is most of my
adult men
art
are pretty sad, so.
Right, and I think that's what I learned as a kid. Adult men are sad. Because most of my art was funneled to me through my dad. My mom wasn't. My dad was the sort of person who's like, oh, you gotta hear this song. Kids, quiet down. And then he'd crank the car stereo up and we'd listen. We would seriously listen to a song. Or he'd be like, you guys have to see this movie. And he'd like, we'd be watching TV and he'd like point things out to us. He was really engaged with it. And our mom was more just like, oh, whatever you want to put on is fine. Just sort of everything was mildly pleasant to her. And dad was a little bit more engrossed in things.
Sure.
So I got my art sensibilities from my dad. So all the CDs I had were sad adult man folk music. As a child, I had Harry Chapin and I had Gordon Lightfoot.
There you go.
The guy who sang If You Could Read My Mind, Love, a very sad song. These were jams to me as a kid. I knew every word. And it's become so weird looking back on myself from 20 years ago. Like, why were these 9-year-old girl interests? These should not have been. And I'm like, how am I who I am today from those? If I was provided, like, sad adult woman music, if I was provided like a Carole King CD instead of a Gordon Lightfoot CD, who would I be? Would I be any different? I think it has informed a lot of my sensibilities because like I made you watch all of the Venture Brothers earlier this year, which is Sad Adult Men, the TV series.
Yeah. I think for me, I was oddly into Savage Garden. You remember them?
Savage Garden is good.
Yeah, they I went back to listen to it fairly recently, and I was like, this is like some of this is actually really good still. Like I like these, but yeah, like I don't know where I found them or how I got them or all that stuff. But we had 2 of their albums. Which I think is all of them, if I'm not mistaken. I think they only did 2.
I don't know if they had that deep of a discography.
But yeah, they were like that was one of the CDs that I just listened to nonstop. Mm-hmm. Don't know why.
Yeah, like when I was a kid. So last week, me and my roommate watched Rocket Man, which is a movie that I had been wanting to see for a year. Elton John's my guy. He's been like my favorite. That was the first CD I ever bought with my own money. I was 13 years old. Took my allowance to Target and I bought a 2-disc greatest hits Elton John collection that the rest of the 7th graders were not impressed by.
What was my first CD that I bought? I want to say it was a Creed CD. I think it was Creed.
Okay.
My mom had a Creed CD, and at the time I liked it. I also grew up in a religious household, so it was like,
sure,
this is rock. It's kind of edgy rock. It's also Christian, so it's like Christian edgy, which is not edgy at all, but
but it feels edgy to you as a kid. It's something that you like. You feel like, ooh, I'm listening to something very mature.
Yeah.
But it's still safe enough that you're like, that you can engage with it and talk about it and not like hide it under your bed.
I don't remember the name of it, but my mom had Weathered, I think was the name of that one, and then I bought the one after that, which I don't remember. No, that first one is called Human Clay, I believe.
My favorite Batman villain.
Yeah. He is a good Batman.
So as a kid, we took a lot of little road trips. Like my grandparents lived on a farm like 2.5 hours away from us, and we'd go visit them like 8 times a year or something, fairly frequently.
That's a
lot.
lot.
To keep us entertained on the car ride, sometimes Dad would take us to the Best Buy, be like, "Okay, kids, pick out a CD." But we have no concept of music. So we bought like a lot of soundtracks to things like TV shows and movies we liked. But outside of soundtracks, all I had was dad music. And then when I was old enough to buy my own CDs, I'm like, yes, more dad music, please.
Man, that reminded me of my Pocahontas soundtrack story. Where I
appreciated
that was the first thing that I bought on this road trip, and my parents were like, "Okay, but you can only get one thing." I was like, "I'm sure this is the thing that I want: the Pocahontas soundtrack on tape." And they were like, "All right, I guess we can get it for him." And then we went to the next store, an hour down the road, and they had this like toy rifle or something, and I was just like, I want it, I need it. And so I took it and I sat it on the counter and I just waited there. And then my dad came up and was like, what are you doing there? I was like, well, I wanted to get this toy rifle. And they were like, well, we already bought you the Pocahontas soundtrack. And I was like, Dad, you can have it. And he was like, to hold it? And I was like, no, to keep it. You can
My
keep
gift
it.
to
Like,
you.
yeah, I bequeath it to you, Father. I will now have this rifle, please and thank you. Good stuff.
One interesting thing about Harry Chapin, his next biggest song after the sad "I was a bad dad and now my son might be a bad dad" song is a song called Taxi, about a man who's a taxi driver, and he picks up a woman.
Oh, I've seen
he's like,
that
don't
movie.
I know? But he picks up a woman and he realizes, oh, we were like old high school sweethearts. I didn't recognize you. I haven't seen you in like 10 or 15 years. And it's just this melancholy, like two ships passing in the night. Like, well, we had dreams when we were teenagers and now our dreams have faded away and I may never have a chance with you again. Let me drop you off at your house. This was his next biggest hit. Again, song I loved at age 9 or 10, preparing myself.
I mean,
of adulthood.
Granted, it is a very romantic song, right? In the sense, like, oh, what are the chances that like you and I would meet here in this, and like knowing you have these like romantic aspirations. So I can see that makes sense.
I'm real gooey.
Oh
yeah.
That makes sense.
They're so narrative. All of his songs are like 8-minute long short stories.
Bars.
They're novellas practically.
Dude got bars.
But the neat thing he's done that I've never heard of another musical artist doing, he had the Taxi song. Albums later, he wrote a song called Sequel that is a return to the Taxi song that is the next chapter in those characters' lives.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Kyle, I wanted to pose the question to you. What other song do you want to have a sequel?
Well, it's interesting you asked me this because I am a big fan of Lupe Fiasco's music. And I've been showing my girlfriends some of his stuff. And one of the things he does is he has this whole like saga of like returning characters and stuff like that, but it takes place over multiple songs, over different albums, and there's stuff that people are like theorizing, like, oh, that might be a reference to this one thing, and here's that, and they're you know, like with their red tape and just being like, it all connects. See, but so I've been showing her that stuff, and that's a lot of fun. But, oh man, if I had to pick something else of what would have a sequel. Oh man, the first thing that's coming to mind is like I need like a sequel to a Weird Al Yankovic song.
I want this too, because he did The Saga Begins, which is a parody of American Pie about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And previous in his career, he'd done the song Yoda.
Yoda.
Yoda. And he has not, that I have seen, done any song for the sequel trilogy. I need him to do some sort of a parody that's about Ray and Finn and Poe.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I would love to get. Well, I was trying to think of like one-hit wonders that I would love to see, like Jake Kwan's everybody in the club getting tipsy, and a sequel to that. Like, what happened to all those people after that?
Yes. What was the next day like after Tipsy Night?
What was the hangover like?
There was a clear answer to this for me. Mm-hmm. This isn't a sequel, but I need a prequel explaining everything that happened before the song Cotton Eye Joe. Because that song leaves you with a lot of questions.
Where did he come from?
Where did he come from? Where did he go? But also the guy says, if it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd have been married a long time ago. What does that mean? Has Cotton Eye Joe been a liaison of yours? Is Cotton Eye Joe the one that got away?
I think liaison is putting it mildly.
I was once betrothed to Cotton Eye
Joe. Yeah, that is a great one. I'm also thinking of like really ridiculous songs. When you first mentioned this to me, I'm not gonna lie, the first song that came to my head, and I have no idea why, was Cisco's Thong Song.
It's just about a naked butt at that point. That's the only place you can go after that. Just raw butt with nothing on it.
Just raw butt with nothing on it. That's the episode title right there. Just raw butt. Yes.
None but with left beef.
That's great. That's it. That's our show. We're done. We're not doing episode 100. It's never getting better than that. Oh, my head hurts.
I want our culture to go next. If we're in a time period where it is difficult to make films and TV, let's build universes out of songs. Where's the sequel to Beyonce and Lady Gaga's Telephone we've all been waiting to? Don't just give us one. Yeah. Give us it's on several different albums. We have to track it like it's, the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, right?
It's like, the next chapter's on this Ariana Grande album. And then, but you got to listen to Nicki Minaj before you do that. And that forms an entire puzzle piece. And the strings were all there.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool. I could see something like that happening on... some just on a particular record label where all the artists on that.
It's like when every show on NBC that night, like they all have to endure a blackout or something. They have those theme nights.
Yeah, but just like all the artists on a particular label or something, just each have one chapter in all of the thing. That'd be neat.
What if it takes a while to get to where we can safely film things again, and like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness isn't a movie, it's just a concept album. You just have to listen to the Multiverse of Madness.
I can actually kind of see something like that happening.
Who do you want to produce the Doctor Strange concept album?
I don't know. Who would be a good one for? So I'm thinking of just like promotional stuff in general. Like, I mean, this week on the review show, you and I are listening to an audio drama called Marvels, which is based off of the comic book, the graphic novel of the same name. And like they could do more stuff like that. Just like let's make more audio dramas and stuff like that. But yeah, as a like promotional thing or just an extra thing, like here is this movie as a concept album while you wait. Like I think that would just here's the official like concept Spotify playlist.
Yes.
Whereas
I would love
it's
something like that.
There's little hints in there in these songs of like, okay, the plot might have like 2/3 of the way through a love story like in there, so that's why that song is like number 6 in that one. Or yeah, they do something about like, oh, and then there's a big fight, and so there's a song about some like shootout or something.
Yeah. Point number 1, I want to make the Doctor Strange concept album. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Okay.
They did a song about Orpheus from the Greek legend that's pretty great, and I want to see them just do more mythical, spooky songs like that, just about a wayward hero.
Yeah, okay.
So last week...
I only know them from the Netflix show Peaky Blinders, which has this, like, kind of, like, bar rock, not to be, like, not in a negative way, but this, like, grungy, kind of folky, real atmospheric rock.
Yeah, that is them.
Yeah. I think for a Doctor Strange thing, I would go more, like more of a DJ. Like I think I would do instrumentals, like DJ Shadow or something that can just like mix in all of these different samples and vocal tracks and stuff like that. So it does make this like a mix of things. And like I didn't even know you could mix those things, and it worked.
That'd be neat. So last week, a movie and TV Discord I'm in, the Jams hosts, along with a bunch of our other local friends, we all watched Cats together. The 2019 musical film Cats. No, we all volunteered to do that thing, and I had wanted to see it. Like, I wanted to see it with my own eyes, what the thing was. I thought that an experience like that could only enrich me, and I do feel enriched. I lose nothing when I watch a film. Absolutely nothing. I'm not going to talk about... What am I going to say about Cats that anybody else hasn't already said about Cats? You get the vibe. You get the vibe of it. After the movie was over, we started playing it again, synced up to Dark Side of the Moon. We did not watch the whole thing again. We only watched it up until Dark Side of the Moon ended, but it was a wild time. There is stuff that did eerily match up.
That's like wild when things match up like that. I'm just like, I didn't even know. Holy moly.
Like there's like Grisabella's opening her mouth to like sing some terrible like heart-wrenching ballad, and it's just money. Sometimes it was perfect. And we've decided we want to like keep doing that since we can make that work on the Discord pretty easily.
That's funny.
Just find other like movies and movies and albums to link up to each other. I said we should put up a poll of a movie and an album, and then just whatever the winners are. Like, don't nominate pairs. Just like pile of movies, pile of albums. Who comes out on top at the end? We're gonna pair those two together, no matter what they are.
Yeah, that seems fun.
Yeah,
that's an interesting concept. I think I've seen a couple podcasts that they do like movie discussions and stuff, but they recommend a wine to go with the film and stuff like that, and that's what they're drinking as they watch it and stuff like that.
Classy.
So that'd be a similar thing of like, okay, we watched this movie, here's an album to go with it.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I can dig that. We're movie pairings. I agree. That's fun.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I had an idea for a game that we could play, but I think I want to kick that to next week.
Gotcha.
For
we gotta have something
100.
for episode. Right. We have like almost nothing planned. We decided we were going to look into the discography of the funk band The Whatnauts.
Yes. Our unintentional namesake.
Yeah.
yeah, I want to dig in more to their music, because without knowing it, I've heard some of their stuff sampled in things. I'm like, oh, this is that song. That's where he got it. Okay.
Hey.
So I want to check out more of that. Sorry, I have the hiccups.
Oh.
So I want to check out more of that and start talking about some of their music. I want to play Two Truths and a Lie. That was the game that I was like, let's play that today. That I want to kick.
Okay.
I just got reminded of that game because I've been playing a certain video game, and they play it in that game. So I was like, we should do that on the podcast. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to come with a little bit of a surprise for you, Melissa. So be on your best behavior.
Okay. I'll dress up.
No, you don't need to judge.
I feel like we should have champagne or something.
I am gonna try and get some alcohol or something.
Yeah.
So I can get a little tipsy. Everybody on the podcast getting tipsy. Is that what the sequel is? No one's in the club because of the coronavirus. They're all at home on podcasts. Yeah, like I'm sure you and I will talk some more and just come up with like, what if we talk about this or what if we do that?
Brainstorm.
I've been
definitely a retrospective
ideas for things, just what we can do on the captain's log.
I'd appreciate.
Forward.
We do this a little bit at our like end of the year retrospectives, but after 100 episodes of the captain's log, I'd like, I don't know, what are your top captain's log memories?
Sure.
Your favorite stories and bits we've had. Give me like 5 of them. Yeah.
Top 5 captain's log betrayals. Okay, the butt was so much funnier. That wasn't.
No, I'm just thinking about Corey in the house. Favorite anime. Captain's Log is my favorite anime.
Yeah, I can do that. I think that'd be fun. Just a good look back, good retrospective look ahead on some of the things that we want to do going forward.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Forward.
Yeah. Like our Lewis and Carol. Aha, that way.
Kyle.
Yes.
Lewis and Carol.
Whatever their names were. I don't know.
Lewis and Clark.
Exactly. Lewis Carroll. He wrote the book on them, right?
They started the whole thing over here, Kyle. Like St. Louis is where they launched from. There's like 3 different Lewis and Clark statues in my immediate vicinity.
Oh, man, I am an
That's
idiot.
my number 1 Captain's Log betrayal.
Number 1, right there. Kyle, how dare you?
Lewis and Carol. That or you not knowing who the Muppets are.
I don't know who the Muppets are. I mean, I know the Muppets. I don't know what their names are.
Individually. You only know them as a collective.
I don't know their government names. Good stuff. But yeah, I think that kind of about wraps us up for today then. Episode 99. Good stuff. A little bit of housekeeping before we get out of here. We kind of mentioned a lot of it, but if you did not know, if you weren't listening to this entire podcast and you happen to tune in right here, right now, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, thewhatnauts.com. And if you guys like what we do, patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us, which, by the way, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, but we are donating all of our Patreon money this month to the ACLU. So if you guys want to join our Patreon and help us out, that would be fantastic. We are donating 100% of that at the end of the month. If you guys don't want to give to our Patreon, but you still want to donate, that is fine. You can donate to whatever charity you want.
Yeah.
And if we are
So
the ones
many.
that inspired you to give or something like that, take a picture of your receipt. Make sure to block out any of the personal information and stuff like that, unless you want us to have your credit card information, because that would help us out a ton. But,
no, we'd use it benevolently. We'd just use it to send donuts to your house.
Yeah, or just donate even more to the ACLU.
Donuts to anyone's house.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to be donating all of that at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So we would love to help raise some money for all of the protests and stuff like that. We have all kinds of exclusive content and stuff you can get on our Patreon, so be on the lookout for that. I mentioned that in the show. And last but not least, we would like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, for helping us out. We love you a lot. It is a pleasure to have you as one of our Patreon supporters.
Yes.
That being said, Melissa, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
Cool. And you can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to stay up to date with our podcast, we are at The Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. Follow us here on Twitch if you are not. That's twitch.tv/The Whatnauts. I think we're at like 39 followers. 39. We're hoping for 50. So if you have not followed us on Twitch yet, we would love a follow. That would help us out a ton. Go subscribe to us on YouTube as well, where we're sitting at like 73 subscribers. So we're hoping for 100 one of these days. That would be fantastic and nice. But let's get on out of here. We will see you guys next week for episode 100 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. Let us know in the comments down below what song you would want a sequel to, or a prequel. Yes, that works too. In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in this corner, and go watch one of our other podcasts down here in that corner. It would help us out a ton. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, sell your soul, do all the things, tell a friend, tell a foe, whatever you need to do to help spread the word. And until next time, goodbye.